We're in the very fortunate position, kind of every entrepreneur's dream, where people really like the product and they're effusive about that and go and tell other people, and enough of the people who are told about it by a friend or a colleague or a relative go on and tell other people about it. I'm Stewart Butterfield, CEO and co-founder of Slack. Slack is a messaging app for teams, so it's used for internal communication inside of a company. Kind of like messaging apps that people are familiar with, but with the distinction that instead of addressing a message to one person or to a group of people, most of the messages go out to what's called a channel. So that can be a project, a team, a location, kind of a function, sales and marketing or engineering, design, customer support. And the advantage of that is that people get this rolling transcript of everything that happens at the company, whether they're there today or whether they join next week or 6 months from now.
No, it's good.
We have 750,000 daily active users now, and there's about half of those in the US and Canada put together, and half everywhere else in the world, 30% in Europe, 20% in Asia. Of those, over 200,000 people are paying for it, and that's since the launch in February 2014. The value that I think people get out of it, one is that kind of zero effort knowledge management, this building of a universal archive, and partly just a high degree of transparency because people can see across the organization to different parts. And that's a big contrast for most people who are used to email for internal communication, where you have a very narrow slice and everything else is always and forever opaque to you. I think we're getting set to move beyond the age of email for internal communication. Email is one of those things that, it's got a couple decades left at a minimum, and maybe it will forever be with us. It'll be really interesting to see that I can't remember when Buck Rogers was, 2500 and something, whether email will still be around then. But certainly, it has the benefit of crossing organizational boundaries really seamlessly. I think it's a terrible tool for internal communication. You don't need to have something that's lowest common denominator inside of a company. You get to choose which tools you use, and the disadvantages of email are many. Partly that it's just, it's very mixed context. There's all different kinds of information coming at you from friends and from family and from former colleagues and from your current colleagues at your company, partners you work with outside, and a huge amount of non-human messages, like newsletters, or someone followed you on Twitter, or your monthly statement is available, or here's a receipt for your transaction. And it's such a crazy jumbled mess with so many different bits of information flowing in there that it's hard to manage.